Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Guess it's kind of been a little while since I've done a video, and I just thought I'd try to get back into it a little bit. I know last time I think I said the same thing. I don't know, things just get busy and you kind of have a hard time. I don't know how you guys always stick to it almost every Wednesday. It's crazy. You guys are pretty dedicated, so I just kind of wanted to get in here and make another video, kind of tell some people where I'm at with brewing. Kind of the summer I didn't do a whole lot of brewing over the summer. In the past few weeks I've really just kind of tried to pick it up a little bit. I've brewed a couple of days, or a few weeks ago, I brewed a Imperial IPA. It's just kind of the recipe I usually make with some Falconer's Flight, and I think I had Citra. So, and then I brewed a white IPA, which was basically a third of the grain bill was wheat and 2/3 two-row. And then I'm actually dry hopping it right now. In the boil, I used Citra and Galaxy, and I'm dry hopping right now with Galaxy. So just kind of a simple beer. I call it a tropical IPA because you get a lot of that tropical fruit flavor from the Galaxy. And then I add some orange zest into the dry hop towards the very end. So it's pretty good beer. Really, I normally try to make it during the spring, and then I'll have it to drink during the summer when it's real hot here in Oklahoma. It can get real hot, and sometimes having a lighter beer but still being an IPA, that's good. You know, it's a good beer that I've been able to use to get some people that normally drink light beers, or Bud Light and stuff. I can get them to drink that wheat or white IPA, whatever you want to call it, and it really turns them on to IPAs. So it's still pretty hoppy, 60s, like upper 60s in IBUs, and I think it turned out to be somewhere about 6 or 6.5% alcohol. So I mean, it's still an IPA. It's just a lot lighter. Really just a lot lighter color, and you get a little bit of that wheat flavor, so and then I really brewed it because one of the radio stations here in Oklahoma City is putting on a beer fest at one of the bigger casinos here, and it's just a beer festival. A lot of the local breweries and will be there, and then I'm actually gonna get to pour my beer there at the booth with our homebrew shop, local homebrew shop, and then our homebrew club will have a booth there also. So, but it's a pretty cool deal. This is the 3rd year I think that I've been able to pour at it, so it's a fun deal. And then other than those two, I hadn't brewed. Let's see, I brewed both of those here this past month in August. And before that, I hadn't brewed beer until, or going all the way back to, I think January or February is when I brewed this beer that I'm drinking today. The bourbon oak aged vanilla porter. This is my glass that a friend of mine got for me at Stone Brewery, but I brewed this beer back in late winter, I guess, to send off to the AHA conference. I got some good scores on it, upper 30s, but I didn't place in the regionals in order to get on to the bigger competition. So, there must have been some good porters, because I was scoring 39. I think there's some 40. A couple people scored it at 40. 38. So but anyways, that's pretty much all I've been doing brewing wise. I think I'm really gonna start picking it up a lot here. What basically happened was one day I kind of realized I didn't have any IPA on tap, which for me is a disaster, and I end up going to the store and buying a bunch of beer, which I normally don't buy a lot of beer at the store. I like to have a lot of mine on tap, everything that I need. So but anyways, now I'm back to, once the Imperial IPA and the White IPA are done, I'll have 3 of the 4 taps full. So then I'll have to brew a stout to put on the nitro tap. So I think what I'm gonna do is brew an oatmeal stout. And what I wanted to do was see if any of you guys had some, wanted to share some of your recipes on, or some of your thoughts on oatmeal stouts. Like, I've been brewing the same oatmeal stout for a long time, and I won some medals in competitions, and then recently with that same recipe the past couple of years I just haven't done. I'm still getting decent scores, but I'm not able to get any medals, and I don't know if it's just I haven't changed anything or done anything different. So I did notice that I think I have quite a few more malts, darker malts, than a lot of people do. So it may be that it's coming across a little muddy, not really able to identify any specific flavors because it's just too much in there. So I may back off on some of that stuff and simplify it a little bit. Also, I've never really messed with water, changing the water up for different recipes, and where I live, I may have a little bit, the water may be a little harder than you really want in a stout. So I'm reading the water book that the Brewers Association, the book, I can't remember who wrote it now, but I'm reading that book and trying to get an idea of what I should be doing with my water, kind of take some of these brews to a different level. The other thing I've been doing is working on different ways to ferment and dry hop IPAs in a way that there's as least amount of contact with oxygen as possible. I use those SS Brewing brew buckets to ferment in, and I know, like, kegs, a lot of people use kegs to ferment in. I just don't have enough kegs, and I spent some money on those brew buckets, so I want to figure out a way to use those. So I've been experimenting. What I did do on this Imperial IPA is I fermented in the brew bucket, and then I transferred into a keg during the dry hopping. And the thing is, I do all my IPAs, I do 2 sessions of dry hop. I'll put a couple ounces in, dry hop for 3 or 4 days, take it out, put a couple of fresh ounces of hops in, and dry hop for a couple more days. So opening up the bucket and closing it, and opening it up and closing it, it just exposes it to oxygen more. So I have been using my beer gun as a way to stick it into the little hole at the top of the bucket and purge as much oxygen out as I can with some CO2. I'm not sure if that's working or not. It's hard to say. I mean, I know they say CO2 is heavier, so it should drop and then push the oxygen out. And I'm sure I'm getting rid of some oxygen. I just don't know how good it's really actually working. It's hard to, measure that, but we'll see. This porter, like I said, brewed it back in, I think it's early February, and I wasn't real happy with it. For one reason, the vanilla, I guess I don't know if I'm doing it right. Like, I put in I think for 5 gallons I put in 3, it was either, I have to look at my notes again, but I think it was 3 or 4 vanilla beans. Now the way I did it, I just took the inside of the bean out. I don't know if you guys throw the whole bean in. I saw a couple people, I guess they scrape the inside out, and then the outer part they chop it up and they throw it all in. I was just taking the inner part out, and then I put into a mixture with my wood chips and my bourbon, and I let that sit for a few days, kind of mixed it all up, and I just dumped all that in at once and put it in there. It sat in there for a week. I'm definitely getting the bourbon and the oak flavors, but I'm not getting any of the vanilla flavor, hardly at all. I mean, really at all. But I will say, now that it's aged several months, it's a real good beer. I mean, it's one of my, I love drinking it every day. It's one of my favorite beers. It's just, it's not, I wouldn't, if I tasted it and didn't know anything about it, I would never think it was, had vanilla in it. So, we got a bit of a storm moving in here through Oklahoma. So I don't know if maybe some of you guys want to share some ideas how you do vanilla. That's another question. I've searched a bunch of videos and different things, and everybody seems to kind of do it similar to the way I do it, other than some people throw the whole bean in. So I don't know if any of you guys have an idea, some way that's worked, or maybe I'm not using enough. I don't know. So just leave some comments below if you guys have any good ideas for that. What else is going on? Man, I've just been trying to buy some equipment here and there. Just little things like, well, I ended up getting, having to buy a, I normally use a counterflow chiller, and I had to buy another little chiller that I'm placing in ice, running the water from the hose through that submersion chiller that I bought, and through some ice into a bucket of ice water, just to cool my water down before it gets to my counterflow chiller. Just because here in Oklahoma, it's not even been that hot of a summer. We've had a couple weeks where we were in the hundreds, but I mean, it's just the water temperature coming out from the faucets, like only getting down to like 80, maybe low 80s. So ended up buying a submersion chiller to try to pre-chill the water before it gets to the counterflow chiller, and just buying some little pieces here and there to kind of better my brewing. Like I said, I bought the water book, and then I bought some stuff, some different salts and stuff to try to use to change the water around a little bit. And other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm really liking all the SJ Pour videos. I will say this, I definitely like Larmo 22 doing his putting all the videos on one video, all the reviews onto one video, because I'm sorry, but some of you guys, I get on YouTube at night, and man, there's some people will have 8 or 9 videos just taking up my whole feed from those SJ Pour videos. I mean, everybody's definitely into it. I think it's one of the coolest things that's been done on YouTube. So hats off to all you guys that are doing that deal. And then I also wanted to give a little shout out to BH Brewing. Big Sooner fan there in Colorado, and I know he's excited about the Sooners this year. They're looking pretty good. Number 3, number 4 in the country there. So cheers to you, man. Hope you have fun watching the game this weekend. And then I just wanted to give a shout out to all you guys that are doing those videos every Wednesday. I don't know how you guys do it. I try to do it, and then next thing I know, I look up and it's 2 months or so since I've done a video. So anyways, happy Homebrew Wednesday. I'm gonna start working on a video for next week, as soon as the weekend's over with. I think what I need to do is work on them for a few days leading up to Wednesday, and that way it's not something I have to do all at once. So anyways, cheers and happy Oktoberfest to everybody. I know everybody's starting those Oktoberfest celebrations here in Oklahoma in a town called Choctaw. We just had one, and it ended this past weekend. Yeah, I wanted to show off my new Stein. I like getting one of these every year at that Oktoberfest celebration. So there's the one I picked up this year. Like I said, they're pretty cool. So I usually drink out of it at the celebration at the festival that week, and then after that I'll never drink out of them again. I like to collect them and kind of display them up in the living room. So anyways, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers, guys.